another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I'm your host, Shay Wheat, founder of Grace and Ease Productions, and I'm excited to bring a different type of guest on with us today, someone that we haven't had with this type of background, so I'm very excited to be sharing her with you. The amazing Louisa Warwick is a manager and publicist based in New York City. So opposite sides of the US from me, being in San Francisco. Now, while pursuing her career and her degree actually in sports management, she worked as a fashion model and has modeled for some pretty amazing brands. You might know a few of them: Calvin Klein, Guess, Dior, Bare Minerals. She's also appeared in editorials from Maxim and Harpers Bazaar and has walked in New York Fashion Week over 20 times. Like, that's insane and crazy and amazing. She is the owner of a marketing agency and PR agency called Social Acceleration Group and a celebrity talent agency called Inferno. Please help me welcome Louisa to the Creating Powerful Impact stage. What's up, Louisa?
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm super excited to be here today.
I'm excited to have you too, because so normally we have people that are like, oh, I'm in sales or I'm in marketing or, showing behind the scenes of that. But you have a background that is pretty fascinating. I know that you've actually gone and competed as a swimmer and also an international distance runner in the past, right?
Yeah. I have a strong athlete background. I've also run the New York Marathon twice, but I think I'm done with that now.
I don't blame you. But
yeah.
How is being an athlete then converted into your influence as being a businesswoman and a model? How does that relate, or how do you bring what you learned and did as an athlete into the space that you're now in?
Yeah, I've always been a big believer that, athletes can make really great business people. I think it's just, having that athlete mindset, that mentality that's, really drilled into you at a young age. I started being an athlete when I was 10 years old and training up to 20 hours a week in the pool when I was a kid. And then when I was a distance runner as a teenager, it was a huge amount of dedication and training before school, after school, traveling around the country and the world to compete in competitions. It's a big dedication. And I think a lot of that sort of just groundwork and, my roots, it really helps in business today. Just that mentality of working hard, going for what you want and not giving up.
Right. And probably also breaking it down, right? So it's if you're in distance running, you're going, I don't know, how many miles would you train for?
Depends what I was competing for. When I was younger, I was a cross country runner, but I've done the New York Marathon twice, which is 26.2 miles. So it's crazy, right? But it really depends what you're training for. It's the same in business. You have to sort of train for what business it is you're in and what goals you want to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. So when you were training and you're doing your running, the goal is 26 some odd miles, but you're probably doing breaking it down, right? Okay, if I know if I can get my pace for the first 5 miles here and then the next 5 miles here or something like that, right? You're kind of breaking it down and then doing the same kind of mentality into the business space. If my goal is to hit 500,000, hit 1 million, hit 5 million, you've got to how do I break it down in order to do that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's all about just strategic planning, goal setting, and then breaking down those goals maybe into timelines. So 6 month, 1 year, 5 year plans, and formulating a plan that makes sense and then just executing it.
Mm-hmm. And then finding who can support you in making it happen, which I bet is a lot of the marketing company that you have. It's probably all about who is it that and who can you support and what can they open doors for. But I'm curious, how did you make that transition? Okay, so you're an athlete, now you're going to school and you're modeling, and then how do you then go, oh, I'm going to have my own marketing company?
I know, right? I actually I was graduating NYU in New York, and I'm from the UK, so I'm not a US citizen. And I just thought I need to do something after I graduate NYU, because, being a full-time student and suddenly becoming not a full-time student, you have a lot more time on your hands. And yes, I had a job as a fashion model, but I never saw that as a long-term career or a full-time career. And so I just came up with the idea of, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? What have I learned in the past, few years of living in New York? Who have I met? What am I good at and what am I passionate at? And my experience as a fashion model, it really helped me to just come up with the idea, okay, I'm in the social media space, the Instagram space, the fashion modeling world. If I can combine these two things, I think I could have success. So yeah, I started off doing celebrity giveaways on Instagram, which really propelled us into the limelight. We were featured in a great New York Times article within 6 months of starting the business, and working with like influential people like celebrities. It really puts your business on the map quite quickly. So we accelerated to having a very good customer base, like a lot of US based females as customers, which from there, when the pandemic hit and I had to shift and transition the business, we had a really good core group of customers. And so then I decided to sell a complementary good of what I'd already been selling. And so overnight, we kind of became a PR agency as well.
Oh, I love that. So you were taking a look at, okay, great. Like all of us had to go, now what does it look like? What does my model look like? And what does my industry need to be morphing into? And so you went sideline and then started that piece of it. Okay.
Yeah,
That's fascinating.
I'd been doing giveaways for approximately a year at this point when the pandemic had hit.
Mhm.
And I had a really valuable asset. I had thousands and thousands of US based female customers, which is really valuable. It's a great asset to have. So I just had to transition, and I thought, what do my customers want? Like,
Mhm.
at this point in time, they want to increase their Instagram followers, but I think they're also going to want to get verified on Instagram through press. So I used my journalistic contacts as a fashion model who was in the press myself, and just started a PR agency. I got a few people verified on Instagram through the press I got them, and then that was just a snowball effect. The second we got somebody verified on Instagram, we would get a big influx of customers.
Oh my goodness. So I love it because, we're constantly doing market research essentially in business. And so it's
Yeah.
like, what is, especially now, I feel like where we're at in the world and the space now is we're going through another transition. I don't know if you guys are feeling this in your industry, but in my industry, it's like, what does it look like now? And how are we supporting the client where they're at, or the customers where they're at right now? And how can we show up and be supportive there and helping them at that level, right? It's like meeting them where they're at versus we've always done it this way. How do we need to shift to support what's actually showing up now?
Yeah, absolutely. And things can change pretty quickly. So I think it's really important just to, just be very headstrong, and just sometimes just go back to the drawing board and brainstorm and
Mhm.
just execute.
Yeah. So speaking of changing, the modeling industry
Mm.
has definitely evolved, and I'm sure is even more evolved from when you started to where we're at now. I'm curious to hear your opinion of like what was it, what did it look like, what is it now, and then what do you want it to look like in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I could I could talk about this for hours, this topic, but I think I'll just highlight some of the sort of key areas in the fashion modeling industry, from that point of view. It has changed a huge amount since I first entered the industry. I think social media has played a huge part in the fashion modeling industry, and I think I I generally advise girls, if you want to get into modeling, have something else going on as well. Don't see it as a full-time career. And I say this because, even the biggest supermodels in the world, they're not doing modeling jobs every single day, or it's highly unusual if they are, right? So have something else going on and use it as a tool to make money and grow your following and just enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy modeling, do something else, do something that you're passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, because of your background in kind of the fitness and such, I'm curious. I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs and businesses where like their business is their baby, right? It's like that's where they put all of their time and energy and effort, and the healthy lifestyle kind of goes to the side. I'm curious, how do you kind of balance running a successful business and maintaining a healthy lifestyle for yourself and taking care of yourself? And especially as a woman too, when we tend to have like a bunch of different things happening all at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, being a woman's great. We're great multitaskers. Yeah, I take care of myself, for business. I need to be very sharp. I've never been a big drinker because I have an athlete background. But, I really don't drink alcohol, very rarely, maybe one glass a month, if that. I just need to keep my brain very sharp and very focused for business. I need, like you have to be in a position where you need to have a good brain that's well rested. Your body needs to be in good shape. You need to just be able to execute on a day-to-day basis and be able to function. So I'm a very big believer in just taking care of yourself, exercising, eating right, and just doing whatever works best for you. I don't want to sit here and preach, you need to do this, that. Everyone has something that works for themselves. And I think it's just about figuring out what works for you and just living your best life.
And do you include it like it's a part of the business plan, is making sure that you're staying healthy, because it's like putting the mask on you first before you can support other people and be at that kind of top level tier?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's part of the business plan, but I would just say it's just a part of my lifestyle. Like I've just always sort of taken care of myself, just from a very young age. Like I think it just goes back to being an athlete, like I very much respect my body, and I want to look after it, and just, yeah, it's more of a part of my lifestyle.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. Well, I appreciate all of this. And with the podcast, we also like to go a bit more behind the scenes here. And so, I say everything is great and amazing, but it probably hasn't always been great and amazing. Would you mind kind of sharing with us some type of like challenging situation that you've faced in your career and kind of like how you've overcome it? So that way those listening can maybe utilize what it is that you've done and tweak it and adjust it for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, the times can change very quickly and trends can occur. And I think having a business is about longevity at the end of the day, and having a business that is not only successful, but will last a long time. And the biggest issue I faced was with my company, Social Acceleration Group, when the pandemic hit. And my company was known as a celebrity marketing agency that gave away luxury goods on Instagram. And the whole idea behind that was it grows people's Instagram following. So that's why it was very popular. And, I just remember in March 2020, when the pandemic first hit, and it was in that very scary time where, we didn't know the implications of this pandemic. We didn't know if, just from like a health standpoint, the economy, it was a very scary time. And it just seemed to be in very poor taste to be giving away luxury handbags with celebrities when, we were facing a worldwide crisis where people were potentially dying, or they were dying, and people couldn't afford to live in their homes, and health insurance, and just the implications of what was going on. And just morally, it didn't sit right with me at all to be doing the business that I was in. And not only that, I don't think I was going to have longevity doing this when there's a worldwide crisis going on. So I had to navigate and transition pretty quickly, and just come up with a strategy of what can I do to make this situation right. And I thought, instead of giving away luxury handbags, I think my customer base will want to get press. I think a lot of people want to get verified on Instagram through the press we get them. So I very quickly, just overnight, just turned it into a PR agency. And we had a lot of success with that. We got a lot of people verified on Instagram through the press we got them. And it just had a snowball effect from there. And just within like a week to 2 weeks, we went from being a celebrity giveaway company to a PR agency. So I was very lucky in that respect. But I think the advice I would give is just really figure out what your assets are, what you're good at, and figure out what is it that people want. And sometimes it can just be a very simple thing. If you're selling something that people want and really need, you'll do well.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us, what's the future look like? Like, what are the goals? What's going on with the career? What's going on with your personal life? What's the future look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I have my two businesses. So I have Social Acceleration Group, which is primarily a PR agency, which is great. And I also have Inferno Agency, which is a talent agency. So we represent a lot of big influencers, and we're a full scope talent agency. So we put our clients in the press. We also run their OnlyFans accounts. We get the modeling bookings and social media bookings. So that's amazing. I launched that at the beginning of this year. And yeah, I'm just working on both my businesses and just continuing to grow them and make my customers happy. And yeah, that's really all that's going on in my life right now. I'm just very career focused.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So how can people stay in touch with you? What's the best way for them to take a look at both the businesses that you have?
Yes, so we have Social Acceleration Group. It's socialacceleration.group.com, and it's primarily a PR agency. So if you're looking to just get some press, that would be the place to head. I've published clients in a lot of great publications, including the New York Times, the New York Post, Harper's Bazaar US, Forbes US, Business Insider, and so on.
I think I also saw like you can get people on billboards in Times Square. Is that right?
Yeah, that's really popular.
That's so cool.
Yeah, we have a lot of brands and entrepreneurs and influencers that want to be in Times Square. It's one of the most iconic locations in the world, and we offer really affordable billboards.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh, it's really affordable. So definitely go to the website and check it out. That would be so cool. How awesome would that be? Oh my gosh. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, and we have a team of photographers that will photograph your billboard for you. So if you are an out-of-towner or can't make the big reveal of your billboard, we can photograph it for you, video it for you, so you can have the experience. Yeah, so head to socialacceleration.group.com, or if you're an influencer and want to have management representing you, we would love to take a look at your profile, and that's at infernoagency.com.
Beautiful. Oh my goodness, this has been really lovely. I'm excited that you've been with us today. I highly recommend you go take a look at both the agencies and, maybe get yourself a billboard or two, right?
Or three.
But before I let you go, I would love for you to share with us, what is a takeaway or some type of memorable note that you would like to leave our audience with today?
Work hard and work smart.
Short, sweet, to the point. I love it. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. And I also want to thank our audience for joining us on another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I'm excited for you to take the lessons and the resources and the behind the scenes that you learned here today, implement them into your own life, and create even more impact in your own world. Until next time, have an outstanding rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast. If you are a successful coach, speaker, author, or thought leader who would like to be on this program, simply visit creatingpowerfulimpact.com/guest. If you are someone who got something out of this interview, would you please do me a favor and share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. Also, if you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Creating Powerful Impact. I love seeing all of your posts and great guest selections. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they really mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more about us? Head on over to our website, graceandeaseproductions.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just look for Grace and Ease Productions on your favorite platform. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.